But the wire is hanging up to here.
No, just put on there. Yeah. Did he put it correctly?
Mao's leadership qualities manifested early in life. He defied his diminutive stature and looked to his other gifts. His excessive love for books became a foundation of his oratory skills, wits, and earned him a mastery in metaphorical expressions in speech. Mao is loved and hated in equal measures across the spectrum.
For example, they had opportunity to say, don't come. We would not be here.
When Mao joined Namilyango College in 1984 in Senior 3, he quickly became the class monitor and spent more time in the library than in the boxing pyramid. The oldest college then was known for its heritage, boxing, and academic prowess. His was the latter. He excelled in his ordinary level exams and returned to the college the following year and later to become the head boy. He never looked back. His recent appointment as the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs has generated debates and shifted focus from probably some of the most critical national issues.
Any fool can be allowed to lead Uganda for 10 years, provided we know that fool will go eventually.
Tonight on your favorite program, Behind the Headlines, join Honorable Norbert Mao, the man, the President General of the Democratic Party and the Member of Parliament and Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
A warm welcome, and I want to welcome you to this edition of Behind the Headlines. We've just ended that presidential
leadership qualities
We've just ended the presidential national address, and now we need to switch gears and back to Behind the Headlines. Today is Wednesday, the 27th of July, 2022, and we are going to be looking at the implication of the DP-NRM cooperation agreement. What does it mean? What is embedded in the agreement that we have been looking for the last 1 week, or if you like, since last Thursday? Of course, the news broke on Wednesday. but we could not discuss the details because we were not yet privy to many of the, much of the content within the agreement. Now we know it, now we have it, and now we can discuss real substantial issues. And we have the people who matter to discuss those issues. We have, starting from my extreme left, the Honorable Norbert Mao. I was telling him before we came on the show that I will continue calling him Woncom or Chairman Mao, but he has to get used to being called Minister, and in this case of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. You're most welcome, Chairman.
Thank you, Charles. I'm glad to be back on Behind the Headlines.
Thank you very much. Next to him, we have not a veteran politician, he's almost a dinosaur of a politician. The Honorable Captain Francis Babu, flight captain, and he was minister, he was in parliament, of course Minister of State Education, he was in energy, and then in NRM, he has been so many things in this country. Honorable Babu, you're most welcome back to the show.
I'm not from Jurassic Park. I'm from home. Jurassic Park is where the dinosaurs are. I'd like to thank all our viewers. I hope you'll enjoy the show.
Yeah.
And we'd like to thank you. I think this is a very good show. We'd like to compliment you.
I appreciate it.
And all the members who are on.
Sarah and
I hope we'll
Mapenduzi.
give them, a ride for their money.
Oh, they will give you a ride for your money. Next to the Honorable Babu, we have Honorable Chegona, as some people call him, but it's Segon Medad. He is MP for Busiro East. He comes from NUP Party. Honorable Segona, you're most welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you very much. Good evening to you, Charles. I was going to call you Sal. My colleagues and viewers out there. That is me.
And we appreciate whenever we call you, when you're around, you give us time. We really appreciate, actually, the Honorable Babu as well. The panelists, Honorable Ojara Martin Mapenduzi, MP for Bardege Layibi in Gulu Chiti, in Gulu City. And he comes from the independent, from the middle lane. Honorable, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Lady Charles, and greetings to you, the viewers.
Good. And finally, the Lady Sarah, Dr. Sarah Birete, counsel, and she's back on the show. Last week, she was missing in action. She decided, last week was also her birthday on Wednesday, and she decided to go and celebrate it, as they say, to eat it away from here, but it's okay. Sarah, you're most welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Charles, and a belated birthday would do. Message.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. And gentlemen and lady, let's start the discussion.
Sarah is putting on green.
I'm a green.
Oh, I'm a green.
Hey, I hope
Nonetheless, green.
I hope DP can survive.
They are the two people. I hope you're not going to start chasing Mao's position.
No, I am an activist.
Okay.
I will stay in my reign of activism.
Good. The man in the news is here, like I said, and Chairman Mao is in the news, and divided opinions, and we are going to put that aside. Of course, Ugandans have so many opinions. I want to start with, just before I call for a clip that my production team has to start the discussion, President Museveni's Twitter handle is just reading, and I want to start with that. It says, I congratulate Mr. Norbert Mao upon taking the oath of office as the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Your vast leadership experience will be instrumental in the unity we seek as a country and the solutions we desire for our people. Apoyo Bino, that's President Museveni himself, congratulating Chairman Mao and welcoming him to cabinet. Apoyo Bino in Luo means welcome, or welcome. We thank you for coming. So coming to the cabinet and joining him. But my producer, Etiang Patrick, says he has some interesting clips that he wants to start the show with. Etiang, please bring it on.
Leadership qualities manifested early in life. He defied his diminutive stature and looked to his other gifts. His excessive love for books became a foundation of his oratory skills, wits, and earned him a mastery in metaphorical expressions in speech. Mao is loved and hated in equal measures across the spectrum.
For example, they had opportunity to say, don't come. We would not be here.
When Mao joined Namilyango College in 1984 in Senior 3, he quickly became the class monitor and spent more time in the library than in the boxing pyramid. The oldest college then was known for its heritage, boxing, and academic prowess. His was the latter. He excelled in his ordinary level exams and returned to the college the following year and later to become the head boy. He never looked back. His recent appointment as the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs has generated debates and shifted focus from probably some of the most critical national issues.
Any fool can be allowed to lead Uganda for 10 years, provided we know that fool will go eventually.
Tonight on your favorite program, Behind the Headlines, join Honorable Norbert Mao, the man, the President General of the Democratic Party and the Member of Parliament and Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs.
Some of us are relieved. Relieved because, you see, for a long time, we have always said people will know them, will be known by their fruits, by their actions, yeah? And so I am glad that Mr. Mao has stopped pretending. It's not a good thing to pretend, it's a good thing to take a stand.
When you look at the agreement, I think it was between him as a person and his Secretary General, not binding the Democratic Party. Because when I was member of the Democratic Party, they have a constitution, and it clearly states how a party, DP, can cooperate with other parties or form alliances. And this would emanate from a national council or a delegates conference. So without that, then it can't bind the Democratic Party. He has gone as an individual.
I hope when he gets to this position, he's able to put his intellect that we know him of, his knowledge, to the benefit of these countries. We wouldn't love to miss his contribution to this country just because he's in the opposition.
Right now, what Honorable Norbert Mao has done is not new. This is exactly what President Museveni did with the Honorable Semogerere, the President General of the Democratic Party then, when he accepted on the minimum program on which to associate and work with government.
I believe myself that Mao is a patriot, that Mao wishes well for Uganda, wishes well for Africa, and the effort of the NRM and the leadership of President Museveni is to collect all these positive forces together.
Welcome back from that clip, and let's now start the discussion. Honorable Mao, I think it is only fair to start with asking, why did you sign this agreement? Does it benefit the nation? What is in it that will benefit the nation?
Your question is why? First, Uganda is bigger than Norbert Mao, Uganda is bigger than President Museveni, Uganda is bigger than DP, Uganda is bigger than NRM. I am a member of a party in opposition. I have always sought cooperation, and I believe that not having a durable national consensus exhausts the energies of any country. We are not disjoint sets. Mathematically, when you study sets, they say they are disjoint sets. Namely, you have nothing in common. It is important for us to search for that common ground. So, I think there has been a role to build a new consensus, a role to constructively engage with the junta and the NRM government, a role to cooperate on definite areas, the way Russia and the NATO countries are cooperating on space programs, the way Russia is cooperating with Ukraine on exports of wheat, yet they are busy killing each other at the same time. But they can go and sign an agreement on how to export wheat so that Ukrainian farmers can benefit and Russia is not accused of stealing wheat because they have been accused of raiding the farms. So Charles, there has been an opportunity which has been wandering around looking for a champion. Myself and the Democratic Party, we have chosen to champion that role of building a new consensus. Anybody could have played that role. In life, you have cards you are given, and it is also in politics. You can have very good cards and you play them badly, and you lose. You can also have very bad cards and you play them well, and you win. Many people have been focusing on the bad cards DP has been having. So, the way the political game in Uganda is set up, the game has been very difficult. I believe what we have done has changed the game and gives us some leverage. I believe that our limited agenda, focusing on struggling to see whether Uganda can have a peaceful presidential transition, focusing on national reconciliation so that the building blocks that make up Uganda can understand their true stake in the Ugandan state, focusing on a national dialogue. As you notice, Charles, we have been having what we call the inter-party dialogue under IPOD. Some political parties are not interested at all in participating in it. Others have only one leg in it, the other leg is out. But we believe that the issues of Uganda is not just about political parties. We need to have a national dialogue so that the building blocks of Uganda can talk about the future of the country. This is not just about today, it is about tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. It's not about those who are alive only. It is about those who are alive, young and old, and those unborn. This cooperation agreement is also about some vital constitutional reforms. I was one of the architects of the Citizens' Compact for free and fair elections. Now, we need to put some of those reforms in place. But it cannot start with constitutional reforms. You have to first go back to Ugandans. The constitution has been disemboweled. I was there in 2005 when a key safeguard of democracy, namely term limits, was removed. Then age limit, which we talk about as the handbrake, was removed. We have got controversies around land. We who come from areas where customary land is dominant feel that customary land is seen as inferior to the other tenure systems. That has got to be corrected. Most of the laws of Uganda are not yet aligned to the Constitution of 1995. We have a Constitutional Review Commission. Why would someone have to go to court to say such and such a law is unconstitutional? It should be automatic for the government to make sure that all the laws match in tune with the Constitution that was approved. So there are many things that have to be done, but the stickiest one is the one of transition. Everybody is talking about it. We have tried to come up with what we can contribute. Transition is a bit like, you know, if you have someone with a lot of power up a tree, and you have those who are finding ways to bring him down, others may have axes and they are trying to cut the tree to bring him down. Some of the axes may be blunt. Everybody tries what they can, including razor blades. Others even try to push the tree. Others try to shake it. But if you want a peaceful transition, it's possible to put a ladder. That's what we are trying to do. I think you can put a ladder, because if you are threatening the person who is up the tree that, you know, you are coming down, come what may, and they see the prospect of falling and breaking into pieces, then they are going to resist as much as possible.
Okay.
And therefore, even those who are down need a ladder, by the way, to climb up. It doesn't have to be Norbert Mao. It's not a matter of life and death. Others need that ladder to climb. But the person up also needs that ladder to come down. So those are our hopes and expectations. We do believe that it's better to try and fail than to fail to try.
Good. Honorable Segwana, Chairman Mao's hopes and expectations founded in reality? Is it that time? Is he the lucky man who will deliver that much needed safe transitional process with this cooperation agreement? Or can it be a starting point to it?
I thought you were going to ask Captain Babu, with whose party the agreement was signed. But now that you've decided to unfairly start with me, I will start. First, I want to congratulate my brother and my former client.
I'm still your client.
Oh, my client. I'm very happy for many reasons, but among others that now that my client is a minister, yes, I will be able to receive some fees.
Because I've never paid.
Because he has never paid. Oh, the alternative would be that the minister is now guarded, that I cannot reach him to collect
you meet him,
my
you
fees.
meet him in the house.
I can only meet him in the studio and in the house. But that said, I want to congratulate the Honorable Mao upon reaching where he has decided to go. Listening to him, you get the feeling that, one, finally he has some trust, a level of trust for Genome 70, that maybe for once, or beginning with him, Genome 7 will learn to honor his covenants. Two, you get the feeling that my brother has lost hope in removing M7 through the conventional mechanisms that we have been trying together. And that loss of hope in English is called hopelessness. And such a state is very dangerous. So if signing this memorandum is a way of reigniting his hopes in removing Genome 70, and that you can successfully convince Museveni to legislate himself out of power. I wish him luck, because for me, the effort of removing President Museveni as a precursor to democratizing this country, you cannot use one-pronged approach. His option is that I can negotiate with Museveni to leave. That's why he's talking about the man, giving the man a ladder to climb down. Now, we have different versions of Yoweri Museveni, or Yese Itibuhaburwa, as he used to be known, by the way, until you nicknamed him Yoweri Museveni. He said at some point that he's a chameleon, and therefore he knows how to change his colors. So if you can trust the chameleon, and you, in the hope that at some point you will strike when it is still in that color that you knew, I wish him luck. Of course, the worry we express is nobody has joined Museveni that way and remained the same. Let no one deceive you. When he comes to you, he tells you, no, you will remain where you are, you will do things the way you want, but you know, it is. And you know, the other reason to congratulate Norbert is that he's one of those that the police has been chasing around. And now they are running around him, offering security to him. It is honorable. And he will continue to be honorable. As to whether he will be able to achieve those dreams, very, very nice dreams, what he's telling us is what we've been struggling to achieve. For me, in my case, for the last 2.5 decades, but even during my young life, as we were starting, we are yet to see. Now, if you want to see or to predict, first of all, I think there was a Chinese prime minister who was asked in 1965 about the effects of the Second World War, which had ended way back in 1945. He said it is too early to tell.
20 years later.
20 years later. It is too early to tell. So it is too early to tell. It is too early to tell whether the Honorable Norbert Mao will be able to achieve those dreams as have been promised in their cooperation, and I believe in their preliminary discussions, because I don't think it started with these, with the signing of the memorandum. There have been discussions before, and lots of promises have been made. There are people who will come to you and tell you, you know, the president is aging. Yes, he's aging. And that he wants to leave the country stable in the hands of intelligent men and young Ugandans. I mean, they have told us these stories before. I said, oh, so when he looked around, he thinks I am more intelligent than Dr. Besigye, I'm more intelligent than Amama Mbabazi, I'm more intelligent than Vidandi Sali, so on and so forth. Now, if you are convinced, you can go and work with him. But as far as I know, no minister has powers in the current situation to even do or attempt to do what the Honorable Norbert Mao has just said. I'll give you an example. In the 9th Parliament, and under his stewardship, I was in the Democratic Party, and I was serving as Shadow Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. We had pleaded to have the Citizens' Compact that Norbert has just talked about given effect, and therefore legislate along those lines, because we had collected the views from Ugandans. And when they brought the Constitution Amendment Bill, we went for a retreat in Jinja, in Kamuli, in Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. For the first 2 days, we were in agreement that we wanted comprehensive constitutional reforms. At the last hour, things changed. I started seeing everybody running around. Jacob Olanya would say like headless chicken. I said, what's happening? That, you know, instructions have changed. So we decided to write a minority report because we had been defeated by the majority. And that minority report was written, authored by 3 people, myself, the Honorable Florence Namayanja of DP, and the Honorable Paul Mwiru of Ginger. For the first time in the history of Parliament, a minority report was not thrown out, neither was it adopted. So they said, because the views contained in this minority report are very good, we cannot throw them out. We are keeping them, they are a property of Parliament. And the undertaking of the Attorney General, Honorable Frederick Ruhindi, was that the next item in the new government is to establish a Constitutional Review Commission, which he has talked about. And I asked him, supposing you lose the election as we know you're going to lose it, or as you have always lost it. He said, then it's okay, you'll be in government, you'll bring them, because this is your baby. And I thought that was a very intelligent answer. The next term of Parliament, 2016 to 2021, we pleaded, the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, pleaded to bring the Constitutional Review Commission. Frederick Ruhindi was embarrassed because he made the promise as Deputy Attorney General. He was now full Attorney General, and he was helpless. He could not do anything. There was a promise by the Prime Minister, Dr. Ruhakana Rugunda. It could not happen. If the Honorable Norbert Mao thinks that he will achieve it, he has got my prayers. From the DP fraternity, you have talked about other people that have worked with General Museveni. Dr. Semogerere, the late Semei Nyanzi, and so many, a host of many others, Robert Chitariko, some of them have
Sebana Kizito.
The Honorable Sebana Kizito, and so many of them. Of course, don't forget.
Joseph Mulenga.
Yes, of course, don't forget. Yes.
That
At that time we did not have functional parties. The organs were in disarray, and political parties had been suspended. But individuals, collectively, professing the same faith in democracy, said, yes, we can work with the man to reorganize the country. And they believed him. They all left, came back to the opposition, swearing to fight until they get rid of Museveni.
It ended in tears.
Yes, because the marriage ended in tears. Now, the Baganda say, and my brother Honorable Norbert Mao knows, the Baganda say, Edibaliengo teriweka, nguli nyabo yaliwesanga nguli muto wange. You know, that leopard's skin cannot be used to carry babies. You say, oh no, my late mother used to carry my late brother with it. You know, they're telling you whoever uses it and whoever it is used on will die. So Honorable Norbert Mao thinks where his forefathers have failed, he will succeed in forcing General Museveni into truth. I've been telling people, I've been reading the book authored by Honorable Major John Kazora, Betrayed by My Leader. He said, when General Museveni was negotiating with General Tito Okello Lutwa in Nairobi, he said, yes, now it is ceasefire, we are going to work together, we are going to cooperate. He moved out and issued instructions to the Bushmen and said, as they are sleeping now, you need to fight more aggressively because now they are retreating. Now that's the Museveni I know. And I'm sure he has instructed his RDCs, his DSOs, etc. to tighten their grip on DP and all those other parties as Norbert Mao now joins him in the comfort of a ministerial appointment. Finally, it has started working. General Museveni Dr. Besigye described him as a strategic thinker. He knows how to destroy parties. And this is one way. And you're going to see it. I'm making this as a prediction, not basing on whether Norbert will succeed in his endeavors or not. One, he knew that the moment he gets Norbert Mao to put his pen onto Museveni's paper, he's going to divide DP. And you're going to run DP in factions now. Ordinarily, I would not be interested in
but
what
wasn't
happened.
it run in factions before?
Which factions? At least we were all in agreement that Norbert Mao is our president, was our president. Even when you disagreed with him, you would still say he's the president.
That's from some of you like you who is legally...
I don't know when you left the Democratic Party, but for me, I was there. So, as we speak now, we have somebody who has declared himself president of the Democratic Party now, the Honorable Engineer Sebamala. Yesterday, a meeting of some NEC members was convened in Nansana and only dispersed by the police. Today, in the news, I had members of the Democratic Party saying they need to liberate their headquarters from armed soldiers and police. You know, all those are not good signs. And by the way, for me, I cannot celebrate the troubles in DP. One, because I've been there. The Baganda say, if it was your saucepan which fed you, you cannot call it a bad saucepan. Two, it is not good for democracy and the democratization process. That we have a party in disarray. If you look at what Genome 7 did to UPC, today, it is not a party that you can envy. The Akena faction, my son Jimmy Akena, is running a faction which is recognized by Electoral Commission and Genome 7. There is another party faction led by my teacher, Mr. Peter Walubiri. And as a result, you have people who run to UPC to get endorsement for purposes of standing for whichever positions they are running to. But they are not agreeing with Akena. One of the terms in this cooperation agreement is actually to support the NRM. And this is my last point, and it is a very serious point, in my view. To support the NRM, one, including in voting in Parliament, and you're now binding members of Parliament. Forget about the legalese and technicalities of whether a member is bound by what the party directs him. I mean, to me, which I find ugly. And of course, unconstitutional, going by the decision of Brigadier Henry Tumukunde versus Attorney General. But even telling that your members will be voting with the NRM, will support policy, even when you still call your party a party in opposition, is going to be very difficult to implement without consensus of all the parties and agreeing on the areas of cooperation. Because we need to agree if you want us to cooperate. I mean, we've been talking about national dialogue, and I'm in for national dialogue, for the record. But the president has consistently said there is nothing to dialogue over. Everything is okay. He's running the country perfectly well to middle income status.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Segona. Honorable Captain Babu, a lot of things have been raised by the two. The expectations, the dreams, the need for national reconciliation, the transition and all that. But the major sticking point that Segona raises is the question of trust, the question of trustworthiness, if you like, and doubting the honesty or truthfulness of President Museveni. You have worked with him. You worked with him for long. Do you think these doubts and pessimism are founded? Is Chairman Mao in a position, is it the right time, do you think, in your view, that now there is need for the trust to really work, and will it work in your view?
Thank you very much. First of all, having us. And secondly, let me start this. There's an English adage says, time heals.
True.
Another thing, do we as Ugandans and probably Africa understand multi-party systems? Do we? And I think that's a question we should answer very quickly. So the actors who are in this field of multipartyism, do they understand how it works? I want to contend that actually we have a problem. Right from 1962 until today, whilst we're just talking about 1985, 1964, a complete group crossed the floor of Parliament. Those were the days when people crossed the floor. And in fact, in the Constitution, when we were making the Constitution, we said if you cross the floor, you must go back for elections. So, the crossing of the floor, 1964.
That's the one talked about of Basil Batari there.
Correct. Goes to the side of government, becomes Minister of Internal Affairs. And we went on, and eventually in 1980, of course 1966 was a bit of a problem, 1980 the government was removed, and for 8 years we were sitting there under the military rule, where also these parties were actually working within the governing system. Although there was no parties at the time, but they came from the different parties and worked with the government. And in fact, it is that gentleman who got the President General of DP out of prison, made him Chief Justice, and eventually,
killed him.
I don't know whether that's the word, but he sent him away. Now, from there, we go to 1980, 1982, the same opposition again crossed the floor. Now, I'm not saying it in a bad way. Maybe they were doing it thinking it would be good for national development. So all of them were they wouldn't work with the government. Unfortunately for all of us, it's the same party. And I'm sure all these people were not negative to it, they were doing it. Now, when I read the definition of multi-party system, it is a place where you have a lot of parties, some of them working together to form governments, and the others opposing government. In a country next door to us, there's so many parties, and they always move from one side to the other.
Kenya.
You have seen that. Even now, we have a group on one side and a group on the other side.
True.
If we go to Israel, they have been having elections year in and out. They can never form a government without having one of the smaller parties joining the party that is that goes into government. It is those small parties that make government, and some of them completely do not agree with the two major parties, Likud and then the other one. Now, from there you go to Italy, where they have a proportional representation. Again, a coalition of parties to make a government. And that's not the only place. Many other countries have the same problem. Very rarely in these countries, because when you have a lot of parties, you can never have total majority for you to form a government. Very rarely. They must get other parties to join. Now, this is my understanding of how multi-parties work. They sometimes get together to form a group that makes them go ahead and develop a country. In some of these cases, they don't abandon their ideology. They actually go in there and tell the other party, say, look, you want to work with us? These are the things we want. So that is how I've understood multi-parties working in a lot of countries where we have a lot. I have come to listen to a lot of reasons. There are parties that feel it is totally wrong to even talk to President Museveni. I was in a talk show, and I talked to one of the people. I said, but why don't you talk to Museveni and tell him your views so that he can work with you? You don't have to change. You stay in your party, but tell him, look, for us to work to develop this area, this is what we need. He said, I can never talk to President Museveni. I don't want even to see him. Now, we're in the same country. We need a sportsmanship spirit. I'm not saying that President Museveni is perfect. In fact, very soon I'll be talking about him. But I'm now talking about multi-parties. Now the question is, if mistakes are made, and I don't think there is a perfect country that has not had problems. Very recently I was reading about Boris Johnson, Right Honorable Boris Johnson, and the stuff that they brought out, I never even thought about it. I thought he was such a good prime minister. But when they started talking about him, I really got a bit shocked. I did not even know those things existed. But he was a prime minister. He got, him and a few other people got Britain out of the European Union.
Yeah.
He got a very big majority when he was elected. The other day he went in a very interesting manner. But still, even when he was leaving Parliament and he was talking, he thanked everybody. And he wished the next government the best. But before he even said that, some people were calling him all sorts of names. President Museveni is not perfect. Baganda have a very nice saying. Even the most beautiful person must have a flaw. No mulungi tabulako kamogo. So, to say that Museveni has not made mistakes would be totally wrong. There are people who have accused President Museveni of never keeping his promise. There are people who have accused Museveni of being brutal. These accusations are all there. Said and done, the people who are saying so are also not angels. They also have their faults. If this is a multi-party system and you don't want to join groups so that you can move forward, then why do you keep on moving from one party to another? I've seen people moving from one party to another every day. I've seen somebody who moved 2 parties. First here, another day here, another day there. Therefore, when you keep changing horses midstream, what ideology are you professing? These are questions that I think we should ask ourselves. Do we really understand multi-parties? If a party has a problem, and NRM has a lot of them, and I will not lie about this. If I did, I think I would be talking about even Museveni would laugh at me. There are so many things that have gone wrong in NRM, and they need to also to be, changed. I'll give you an example. When I was in NRC, we had a group called the Young Parliamentarian Association. Next time we got something called PAFO. The next time we got something called Reform Agenda. These were all pressure groups, which eventually came out and became parties. Are you with me now? Some went here, some went there, but these were all players in the political arena. They are not perfect either. So, since politics is not a scientific thing that it must be square, there are bound to be problems, this being a humanity, a science of management of society, which some people have turned into a battlefield. The question would be, how do we handle situations like the ones we have? I'm sorry to say, since we had the announcement of this agreement, I've had some very unfortunate things being said. And I got totally embarrassed for being a Ugandan.
Right.
I've had somebody praying for the people in this agreement to die. And even the prayer said, from God we come, from God we shall return. In Arabic. I've had names being called. I've had guys say they become prophets. That they say that one day this would happen. Now, I am embarrassed because these are our leaders. I do agree that if you don't agree with somebody, you give your side of the story. but you do not use those such language. I've heard people claim that when you're in opposition, you cannot talk to somebody who you're opposing. That is wrong. Now, we go to the side of President Museveni. The reason why all these people are saying this is say that you do not honor your agreements. And that when you take people, you wash them. When you finish washing them, you dry them and you throw them on a dump. You dump them. That is the accusation. The next question would be, is he going to dump forever? Or is he going to sit down and say, wait a minute, maybe these were mistakes. Can we now change? Okay. My question would be, people have used all sorts of methods to remove President Museveni from presidency. We've even had people going to the bush. We've had people demonstrating. We've had people insulting him. We've had people intimidating him. We've had, and other people intimidate him so that he can call them and have a dialogue. And they usually have it at night. We know who. But those dialogues are not reported. Now, there are methods which have been used to try and remove Museveni. As I said, within a week, President Museveni will be gone. The other day you stole our votes. The other day you stole our votes. I'm the president. We have had all this. Unfortunately, they have not gone anywhere. Now, if somebody says, look, after doing all these things, we're not able to move that man, why can't we use a different route? And if President General of DP and his executive members thought that probably let's try this route and see if we can get a small change. There had been an iPod, and I'm sure they've been talking for some time. It would not have been just the other day. This would be totally erroneous. They must have been talking for some time. The question is, and I think Mao will help us, why did he reach this decision to go and talk to him and accept to come into this cooperation agreement? The next thing President Mao should be able to answer is, what about if he dumps him tomorrow?
His term as DP, President General.
Yeah, he dumps him.
Oh,
what about this narrative I picked up today? President Museveni wants to destroy Mao because Mao is a brilliant young politician, and at the same time he wants to destroy DP. Is this narrative correct or not? These are the kind of things that President Museveni should be able to answer. On the other hand, President Museveni should know there are people in NRM who are not happy with this. They want themselves to also be given ministerial posts.
He has addressed that, didn't he?
Which one?
Remember when
I am telling you what he, yeah, I know what he said, but there are some NRM people are out there talking. I'm giving you both sides.
Oh, yeah.
There are people in NRM who are not happy with this agreement.
So they will work to frustrate Mao.
So, I don't know if they work or if they will find a way to talk to him, but I'm giving you an example. So, on both sides of the fence, Mao has got people who are saying, why did he go into this agreement? But I want to say this, and I'm always an optimistic man.
Yeah.
I want to give this agreement a chance.
Okay.
And I'll give it a time. And within that time, I want to see what happens.
What time are you giving it? You had the 20 years when someone said it is not yet.
No.
After 20 years.
No.
That it is still
I'll be a bit reasonable. We have a budget, it's 1 year. That's a short-term plan for a government. Let's give it 1 year. And in that 1 year, I would have liked to see this, me personally. One, I like the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs who was sworn today, tomorrow to come and help us and answer the question that there are political prisoners who are in jail. Can he find out how many of those are and if they can be given bail to come out?
Use the court system.
Yeah.
The lawyers on both
Yeah,
sides.
these are lawyers. I'm just trying to talk about the Justice Minister.
Okay.
After he has, of course, he has to investigate. He can't go and just order.
Okay.
He has to find out.
Okay.
Number two, there are two young men. One of them is called Segrinya and the other one is called Soanyana.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Minister of Justice people feel, and this is the feeling, that they are being frustrated in the courts. Is there any way, because I hear some of them are sick, is there any way the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs can go through the system and get them to get bail? They can go back to court, no problem. Get them, give them bail, they come for treatment, and they can go every day to whichever day they are called to court. Okay. That I would like to see within a week. Number two,
yes.
No,
Okay.
I'm being sincere.
It's fine.
Number two, I would like to know about the constitutional review. I'm very concerned about the constitution.
Almost as a follow-up.
As a follow-up. The constitutional review commission, if we can set up one for East Africa, there's one for East Africa, you know about that, led by Odochi.
Yeah.
Can we set up one? And if you don't have me there, I can propose a header. The chairman of that. But anyway, these are things that we're talking about. Okay. Personally, I think it would make a lot of sense. The promise because I've got the true agreement. I've now got the true agreement which is signed.
Yeah.
The first point, we've got a minister. And by the way, I congratulate the minister. He's qualified to do the job, and he's got the flair of being a minister of justice. That one, nobody can argue against. Number two, he's got some people, they're promising him some more posts. We want to see those posts being filled.
Minister of State.
I don't know who they are, but whatever it is that there is, I want those ministers to be called upon.
Okay.
I've been told somebody is going to the East African Legislative Assembly. I'll pray to God that he goes, because there's nothing wrong. Because if the other good DP went, this one is
is a better DP.
The first term was good, the second term was better.
Better. Now this is going to be the best.
This is the best. So for me, one thing I'm going to end up by saying,
yeah.
I want the other principal who signed to please listen to the voices of those who claim he's not trustworthy.
Okay.
And he should prove that he is trustworthy.
Sarah, pick it from that. And Honorable Babu has raised a number of legal things, challenges, pending issues like the constitutional review, and you heard what Medad said and referred to the Citizen Compact, and I think you were part of it, if I'm not mistaken, or if you, but I need you to make comments on those. And but the most important thing that Babu says is, give this a chance. Is it possible? That's for Mao. That is it possible that that chance can be given by Ugandans? Do Ugandans know how multi-parties work? And the timing, he talked about time heals, referring to the issue of there comes a time when someone has to even if there's this, they have to change, referring to the issue of trust as raised by Honorable Segona. Pick it up from that. Your take.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. And people have spoken first, Honorable Mao and Honorable Francis Babu, Honorable Segona. Maybe to build on Honorable Babu's background of coalitions, corporations in Uganda, where are we coming from? The very first alliance was the UPC Kabakaika.
Was it written, by the way? Maybe the older person should. Was that written?
And it was a struggle. I was reading at the time of the late Benaisa's passing, the struggle for the economic boycott. It was an amazing journey, especially the role played by the late Benaisa in the economic boycotts, serious economic strikes that led to independence, together with other efforts, of course, in the country. And how he kept crisscrossing Buganda, UPC, this organization, that organization, the arrests, the deportation in Karamoja, but he sustained the struggle for independence, both as a lawyer, at one time as a prisoner, at another time as a leader. He really played several roles in that process. The alliance led to independence, of course, after attaining majority 65 out of 68 votes. They formed government, the first government, post-independence government, after, of course, defeating now DP of Ben Chwanuka, which was the chief minister, and who had won the first elections. But how did that alliance end? First was the mistrust between Obote and Uganda, and then when Obote started, through patronage, buying Kabaka Yeka members to cross so that he builds majority and dissolves the alliance.
The agreement.
Yes. Then also Uganda allied with Grace Binjira, also trying to build the majority, and also Obote. But Obote, you know, won the game and dissolved the alliance. It sowed seeds of discord, and so our history as a country comes from that mistrust. The games, going backstabbing people, you know, the underhand methods when you pretend to be in an alliance. I would mention two other alliances that stand out. Many alliances have happened, cooperations, or whatever name you can use. The UNLF, Cooperation to Overthrow Idi Amin, I think was also another remarkable political cooperation that we can relate to as a country. And then the interparty cooperation between DP and UPC in the National Consultative Council to restore multi-party elections in the 1980 elections, multi-party system in the 1980 elections. So I found that these are the key alliances that have played around in power with a bit of trust. The UNLF stood its time with a bit of, you know, many actors in there. It led to overthrow of Idi Amin. And the UPC-DP coalition also led to the intended objective. But after that, it could not hold. Beyond the elections, it could not hold. When you jump, you know, fast forward to NRM, we started with a broad-based government. Many of us grew up in that era of movement system. And of course, the bad blood, when the Savannas and Kawanga Semogere left, the Ziwa, the famous walkout of Ziwa. You know, when people thought they were being shortchanged, the things that they had agreed to were not done, and Honorable Babu talks of mistrust. It has a record. It has a clear record. Now of 37 years. That's if you do away with the Nairobi peace talks. It has a long history of mistrust, of backstabbing, of manipulating other people. So it is not out of nowhere. And then recently we had, of course, I think the first was the Uganda Federal Alliance of Beth Kanya joining NRM. Later the Federal Alliance had to dispose her as a president. And she later picked the NRM card, which I thought she should have done at the very beginning. You can refer to UPC alliance, although not written, because also a gentleman's agreement. I mean, a man's word is as good whether written or whatever. You know, even legally, all contracts are respected if they can be proven. So we can say these agreements have been oral, and this one is written, but the difference is the same. So you can look at UPC, the Honorable Jimmy Akena mortgaging his wife to serve in the cabinet and other members in other posts, almost similar to the cooperation of DP.
Did you say mortgaging his wife?
Yes. The first lady of UPC is serving in cabinet, and she still insists, this is her second term, she still insists that she's a member of UPC. So my concern as a governance actor, I have two concerns with the cooperation. One is that it was not processed through the structures. it was not processed in accordance with the DP constitution, and structures are not involved. So if I go, however much I run really small entity that I cannot compare to parties, if I go and sign an agreement on behalf of CCG, which we do regularly with the partners, and I have not involved staff, I have not involved the board, as much as I'm a signatory, will I be a honest actor? And how will I implement that agreement?
Okay. The second concern, that one, Chairman Mao, you have to take note, you will respond to.
Yes,
second? That one seemed to be a fact she's sure of. Honesty would have required her to ask a question.
No.
I will ask it on her behalf.
She's stating a fact which she's sure of.
Honorable Mao,
I expect her to quote the DP constitutional provision.
No. Honorable Mao, just a minute. Why I'm saying this? I am really a keen follower of political events. I also read copies of party constitutions. I have seen several actors of DP, including MPs, who are part of them or you. You are saying they will vote with NRM. I have seen several MPs saying we don't know this.
Charles.
No, Honorable, you will respond.
No, I think this is not fair because you are entitled to your opinion but not to your own facts.
Okay, we can call them my facts and you will give us a
now
picture.
You have become an agent of the agitators in DP. Give your own opinions based on the facts you know.
Okay.
I have seen leaders of DP, including MPs, including council, and the people collecting signatures. They are saying they don't know the process. The first press conference, where even the spokesperson, and I saw him yesterday on Barometer, the spokesperson of DP, the first public reaction, he said, I am not aware, but I hope we shall be briefed. But he said something else yesterday, and that is also okay in politics.
Okay.
So I've been following these events. There are people in DP who are saying they've not been involved. Of course, I don't sit in DP, and I don't know whether they were involved or not.
Okay, Sarah, you raised the second one.
Yes, the second point is,
concerns.
as a governance actor.
I will remind Mao to respond to them.
As a governance actor in a multi-party dispensation, you see the fate of UPC. UPC is basically non-functional. Of course, Federal Alliance has died. I've not heard of it for quite a while. UPC is non-functional. When you go to the Uganda house, every door has a policeman. It's like a police party to guard the alliance. Yesterday at the press conference, I saw policemen at the DP. Yes, of course, now you have a minister designate who has to move with his security, but there were more than the security of a minister. So it would really be painful for me to see DP turning into what? A ghost like UPC, a ghost party. It would be very painful. Because we need these parties to do the work they are supposed to do in a multi-party dispensation. So away from that, my last comment, because my last comment is that the issues, the intentions that are in the corporation is really a beautiful wish list. But there have been so many actors in NRM. And today I had an opportunity of sharing, being on a panel with the spokesperson of NRM, and he said that I don't know whether Mao has power to change the direction of NRM and agenda. And that is the question that many people are asking. So, as who? You are going to do the BC in another party. What power do you wield?
Okay, good. Honorable Mapenduzi, your thoughts about some of the major issues. You can, for you now, you can see by this time there are some major areas of focus, especially touching on the implication of the agreement, issues of mistrust, issues of trust, issues of transition, issues of national dialogue, issues of authority that the new minister will have as Sarah is now introducing it, your own take in terms of the agreement that has just been signed.
Well,
and of course, knowing that Chairman Mao today has now taken office, he's only...
Day zero.
I've taken oath,
He has
not
taken
office.
oath. Yes, true. He has taken
day
oath.
zero.
Now, today is day zero.
No, day zero is on Friday.
That is when you are taking now.
That's when
you're going to be given the key to your office. Good. So
whatever it means to take office in government, I'll experience it for the first time.
Honorable Babu will advise us how it works.
Well, my brother Charles, thank you very much. Last week, when this agreement took place, when the Honorable Norbert Mao and President Museveni signed this agreement in the evening, when we briefly talked about this, unfortunately, Dr. Sarah was not around, I made some statements, and I'm going to very briefly repeat them. But before that, to me, this is a new beginning in the politics of this country. And I'll explain why I'm saying it's a new beginning. It's a new beginning because what Honorable Mao and President Museveni have done, having this formal agreement, is completely new to many parties. But also looking at the experiences the country has had for a few decades now, this is completely new. And so when you hear people say all sorts of things, it's new. The country has been fatigued. People have had lots of expectations. They have had their own frustrations, and so it's expected. This kind of reactions and all that is expected. But for me, I look at it differently. I look at it differently because I know Honorable Norbert Mao. I worked with him as his district council speaker. And so I had the opportunity to understand how he does a lot of his things and how he takes decisions. And so I am very slow to making judgment. Instead, just as I stated last week, I think this should give an opportunity to many political parties to begin to reflect deeply the kind of direction they want to take. Because now, the NRM and the Democratic Party have signed an agreement. They are going to cooperate. And so FDC, NUP, and other parties have to prepare for a run. And last week I stated this. I said, look, if anybody is going to underestimate the agreement signed between Honorable Norbert Mao and President Museveni, they are far from reality. They know what they want to achieve. They have agreed. These are two political parties. I'm not interested in discussing the things in DP because I've never been a member, unlike my senior member here. I do not have any moral authority to talk about what happens in DP, whether there are factions and all that. Every party, every family would have their own disagreements, and so it's difficult to talk about what goes on in such a party when you are not a member. But as an outsider, I look at things based on my own experiences and also based on how I see the country moving, the direction the country is taking. So for other political parties, a friend of mine called me from Gulo. He subscribes to the FDC. He called and said, Mapenduzi, why did Mao take this decision? So what is now going to happen? I said, look, first of all, you have never been a member of people. You're an FDC. So I would pray you spend a lot of time thinking about what is going on in your house, but also looking at this either as a challenge or an opportunity, and how your party can strategically begin to position itself. Because if this is going to weaken the DP, then maybe NUP or FDC or another party would want to use this as an opportunity to get the members. If this is going to build the Democratic Party to a much stronger force while working with President Museveni, then the other parties have a real problem. How are they going to manage this? Maybe, just like I saw yesterday and a few days ago, now FDC and NUP beginning to figure out how they can struggle for a candidate in Soroti. Maybe after that, it's going to be an opportunity for Dr. Besigye and Honorable Robert Chagulanyi to begin talking. You never know, and that's why I'm saying this is going to be something new. Maybe other parties will start panicking and say, look, we are at risk, so why don't we also begin to organize? So let's see what happens in the next few months and few years to come. The other thing which is important, just like the Honorable Captain Francis Babu put it, I think there is a problem in this country. How we react to situations, how we want to treat one another, demonstrate the level of intolerance that we still have in this country, but also some kind of, some signs of extremism, intolerance, and I saw the kind of discussions the last few days, and the level of emotion, and sometimes the abuses, and I don't think that is healthy for our politics as a country. First, I don't think I can even begin to imagine that I can think for Honorable Norbert Mao. This is a CEO of a party. So by the time somebody decides to sign an agreement, I want to believe he went through processes and took bold decisions, and so I look at it as such. I don't think I would be right to begin to think for him. Secondly, it would also not be wise for me to begin to think who should be Mao's friend or who Honorable Mao should work with, because I don't think it's normal for anybody to determine who Mapinduzi should be a friend to or who I should work with. But what is important is that here is an agreement signed by the two on behalf of their parties. And so many Ugandans have a lot of expectations, a lot of hope, but there are those who also have a lot of doubt.
Even fear.
Exactly, even fears. It's going to be entirely the work of the Honorable Norbert Mao and President Museveni to prove those who have fears and doubts wrong. But also to know that there are those who follow them from the two political parties and outside who have a lot of expectations. So what is important is how the Honorable Norbert Mao is going to pursue the direction he has taken, and how he is going to deliver. That is what I want to see. Okay. Otherwise, I don't think it's necessary to start making judgment now. He has taken a decision on behalf of his party, and whether the party is going to be torn apart or that is their business, how they are going to address it is entirely their business. But for me as a Ugandan, as someone who is interested, there are things they have talked about in the agreement, which I feel are very important. Now, if President Museveni is going to commit himself to fulfilling the things as stated in the agreement, I think that's going to be something very positive for this country.
Okay.
And if the Honorable Norbert Mao will do his part and make sure the things that are in this agreement are actually achieved, then he will have helped the country Uganda.
Okay.
Because why some of us say that, just in a few seconds, why some of us say that, one, the country has experienced so much suffering that many people have lost hope. And also, if it's about changing, leadership and changing government, and many people have tried. And so the kind of feeling many Ugandans have right now is that feeling of uncertainty. There is even people fear talking about this transition talk. People fear talking about it. And majority of them are people in the NRM. They fear talking about it. Maybe somebody needs to trigger the discussion and make it real. But we are not going to avoid talking about a transition, because naturally we have our limits and expiry dates. And so all of us will reach that. But we should not leave the country hanging. The country needs to be sure that after Museveni, the country will move on and there will be no chaos. That after, whether it's FDC or NUP or DP, or the country needs to know that there is life after that. But there is a lot of uncertainty right now. People fear, people are not safe. So Honorable Norbert Mao needs to have this in his head and keep that hope. Quite a number of people are hopeful that he will pursue that, and actually the trust Dr. Sari is talking about, talking about mistrust and trust in this country is difficult, because I'm not sure what President Museveni was after in the other agreements that he failed to. So I cannot say
for 37 years.
You see, again, you may think President Museveni,
maybe they are using the principle of twice once beaten,
these are precedents.
Twice shy.
You see, Charles, it's different. Well, you see,
these are precedents.
No, you may look at it. You may look at it that way. I look at it differently, and this is how I look at it. In the 80s and 90s and so on, President Museveni had his own expectation, and I want to assume that part of his expectation was to stay for a much longer time in power.
Which he has achieved.
Which he has achieved.
On the contrary, actually, he thought he would live for much less time.
Well, well, I'll join that with what I'm saying.
Which he did not.
So probably.
Which he did not. Even the promise to himself
he failed
not
to stay for a short time.
Let me put it otherwise. Even the promise to himself to stay for a shorter time, he did not honor.
So Charles, probably whatever President Museveni...
And the several promises to step down, he did not honor.
Yeah, so probably whatever President Museveni has been trying, which has earned him the title of not being trusted, probably has been to keep him around. Today, I do not know what is up to.
Is he?
Very interesting.
I do not know. I see a lot of things changing.
Yeah.
And for me, as someone who is interested in the politics of this country, my thoughts, and every time I'm thinking, how are we going to navigate through this? How?
Honorable Babu talked about time.
So that is it.
Very good. The technical team says I need to take a break. It's getting interesting, and I like at this time to, before we go for a break, just read two sentences from the preamble of this agreement. In the first paragraph, the second sentence says, the signatories herein warrant their full authority from their respective entities to append their signatures, and that cooperation agreement binds the principals, in this case Chairman Mao as DP President General and President Yoweri Museveni as Chairman of the NRM. Those are the principals, and their entities, in this case DP and NRM. The other one I want people to know is that by accepting this agreement, it is recognized to be the duty of the parties to cooperate in good faith and fully with each other, both individually and collectively, for the advancement of the purposes of this agreement and in accordance with the terms herein below. And then goes the general provisions, which are many, 11 pages, 42, right? There are 42 different clauses. Chairman Mao, you need to, you know, there is a lot of fake documents that go on social media. So you need to confirm whether this is the correct one. I'll pass it by you.
It is authentic.
This is authentic. Thank you very much. I am still doing a good job, Honorable
It is a leaked final draft.
I've got a signed one. You can compare it to that one.
Okay, good. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, there are many questions that have been put by the panelists here to Chairman Mao. The basic ones he needs to respond to.
There were allegations.
Vimba! Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
Are you a player in the tourism sector with a struggling business following the COVID pandemic? UDB, in partnership with European Union, is providing financial assistance to businesses operating in the tourism sector. You can access subsidized loan with grants, loan with a tenor of up to 5 years, free business advisory services, and free environmental impact assessment. Visit www.udbl.co.ug/call for applications to apply. Deadline for submission is 31st October 2022 at 5 p.m. For more information, please call 0414 355 509.
Malnutrition in all its forms remains a global challenge, as at least 1 out of every 3 children globally is affected by some form of malnutrition. Nutrition priorities are embedded in the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 2 and the ISN 2. The national launch of the Phase 2 of the National Information Platforms for Nutrition will take place tomorrow, Thursday the 7th of July 2022, starting at 8:30 a.m. in the Conference Hall, Office of the President. The Right Honorable Prime Minister Robin Nabanja will officiate at this function. The NPIN 2 launch will be telecast live on UBC TV from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and will be streamed live on all UBC, UNICEF and European Union social media platforms.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using 2 Gabonais. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mold Technologies, your professional research firm.
Nivana wafe twenywele, nivana wafe twenywele, nivana wafe tunyobulamu.
Nirvana packaged drinking water is a product of Crown Beverages Limited, makers of Pepsi products. That's life. That's Nirvana.
Meet Professor Petero. He knows something every hustler in UG is gonna love.
Oh, see. You see, I was just trying to get the documents to register for Airtel Money.
You don't need the documents. You just say for register.
What's going on here?
He sells things from the shop, and behind my back, he gets the money and gives it to his girlfriends.
But just get Airtel Money Pay so that all money comes direct to your business wallet, and only you, the owner, have access to it.
Just dial *185 *10 hash, and now you are on. No waiting. Huh? This insanity is sweet. Give them also.
I only take Airtel Money Pay. It's easy and secure.
Yes, become a safer and more efficient cash-free business today. Easy.
No mixing your business money with your Kameza money. No, that's efficient.
Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from the break, and this is Behind the Headlines this Wednesday, the 27th of July, 2022. I think this is actually the last program of the month and of July, and we are discussing the implication of the DP-NRM cooperation agreement. I have it here, and one of the principals has just confirmed that the copy I have is the genuine one. So if 1 year down the road you are trying to monitor and evaluate what Chairman Mao and President Museveni are doing to themselves, we will look through the agreement together.
Charles,
So
from what we've been telling you, do not be surprised if the other principal comes out a month later and he tells you that's not the genuine one.
No, but we have agreed that things change. That's what we have agreed. And we have Council Sarah Birete, we have Honorable Jara Mapenduzi, Honorable Segona Medat, Honorable Francis Babu, and the new Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs is here with us, Chairman Mao himself. My team says there are so many messages, but that we have to take some few so that Chairman Mao can add some of them to the many that has come. Stephen Bobia Brian says, I would want to tell Honorable Segona what's happening to the technical. I would want to tell Honorable Segona that for Mao's case, he will succeed in that when he brings in the issue of term limits, they will say that a president shall be allowed for at most 10 years maximum of 2 terms in power. Stephen, I don't know whether your message has ended, but Odoch from Amuru says, why did it take the Democratic Party that long to see the need to cooperate? What triggered the change now?
Good question.
Abaho Huntington says, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Mao upon the bold step he has taken, and I wish him well. Next, Oluba James from Oluba James. I'm reading it in Luo now. Oluba James from Jinja says, I would like to ask Chairman Mao that during the elections and after, both Mr. Museveni and the son kept saying that the only brilliant or best person in the opposition was Mao. Were they already in talks or not? But that was not during the elections. That was after, much after. Actually, that tweet came this year. Lawrence Ngai Moko from Arua says, as we all know that this is a transfer season, Arsenal unveiled Gabriel at a fee of £45 million. I would like to know from Honorable Mao how much he was unveiled from DP to NRM. I will treat that as a question to Honorable Mao so that it doesn't remain as an allegation unanswered. Dickens Ntungamo says, I also wish Mao well, but let's not judge at first. Let's give him a benefit of doubt that maybe he will not be swallowed. That's Dickens. Namokoi from Derek says, Chairman Mao one time said people in DP are moles. Who is now a mole? He fires in every direction. Where is he now firing? Darius Muhozi from Bushenyi says, I congratulate Honorable Norbert Mao for his new assignment. As nation, we have been missing Mao for his brilliant understanding, but unfortunately he may not exercise his abilities because of party that lost democracy. Watch the space. Daniel from Muyenga says, this cooperation or agreement has exposed many Ugandans to be enemies of peace. My wish is if all of us can live longer to see the fruits of this cooperation. God bless Chairman Mao. Mandela Robert, watching from Nansana, says, I think Mao is very right because you cannot change someone's mindset by fighting him or her. But you can change his or her mindset through peaceful talks, and I think it's the only way to change the change. It's the only way to change. Okay, let's come back to the studio. Chairman Mao, starting with the concerns. Many of the panelists raised, made comments, and then Sarah raised the issue of two concerns that she was not happy with. I need you to start from, because you had wanted to respond to those, and then we go into some of these others. But now let's, if we can, we have been given 40 more minutes, so if we can keep the discussion now faster, so that, because now all of us have made our initial comments, now we can do 1 minute, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, so that we have as many.
Just get 40 divided by 5.
You want to use yours fully?
No,
no, it will not be good. It will not be interesting to the person out there.
A member of the cabinet is not supposed to talk a lot, especially when he hasn't yet assumed office.
Wahura,
because I'm now not just a commentator.
Yes.
Wahura, so
I'm not just wasemaji watasema. Let the talkers talk the talk.
Yes.
While we try to walk. But I want to thank the people for the feedback. When I one time told President Museveni that we had been invited by Coin, because I knew my phone was tapped, so I always endeavored to call the switchboard, which wasn't the first time, because I first called the State House switchboard when I was 23 years old as guild president. We had had a strike in which 2 students were dead, many injured, including the then speaker of our guild, who later became Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Olanya. So I called the switchboard. Now, in Uganda, the politics is extremely toxic. The environment is very toxic, and it is understandable. I don't blame anyone who is angry, but some of us come from areas which have more reasons to be angry at President Museveni than anybody else.
What did he do to you?
I will discuss that another time. The fact that you're asking itself is as if you were not on the committee that went to APA.
Okay.
You definitely was a member of the committee that went to APA, okay. And they call you Chegona. So, it is important for us to understand that there are 3 forces right now. In the NRM, there are extreme elements who say President Museveni and NRM will rule Uganda whether Ugandans like it or not. At all costs, they will rig, they will kill, they will cheat, they will kidnap, they will torture. That is one group. Another group says he is going to come down whether he likes it or not. We will dispossess him and his entire family, anybody who has worked with him, of all their property, and even commit genocide if necessary to achieve our goal. Some of us are saying The answer is making sure you have institutions that can buttress a quarrel, so that you quarrel institutionally, because that's the role of building a state building. And I belong to that other category that is trying to build that. It is strange because, like I said, when I told President Museveni that I was going to visit Kony, and I was working very closely with my speaker. I remember we went shopping in the Owino of Gulu to buy some warm jackets. We were roasting groundnuts, buying chapati, and we were determined to go by bus until Vice President Riek Machar sent a plane from Lokichogio. You know, some people came up to the airport and took off. Yeah. Some of them were MPs. It took guts. President Museveni said, I wouldn't advise you to go and meet Kony. How can you trust a murderer? So it cuts both ways. Like I said in my press conference, if I'm going to be the man who dies in the Sinai Desert and Uganda crosses, let it be. I don't need to cross with Uganda. Let Ugandans cross. The other thing, Charles, is that this agreement has been extremely disruptive. It has sort of shuffled up because you know, we used to have like the Cold War was easy, East versus West. It was very easy. You are either with the Soviet bloc or you are with the Western bloc. Now China has emerged. Then you have other countries that stealthily develop nuclear weapon like North Korea. So what do you do with North Korea? You condemn them, you denounce the man as a lunatic, but there it is, you must deal with it.
Iran.
So this agreement has disrupted things because it is contrary to the contours of the current politics. The other thing that we need to talk about is power. I don't want us to focus most on the discussions of, you know, Mao has UPDF. My life has been threatened. There are videos on YouTube, people saying they'll knock out all my teeth if they ever find me. It is there, and I'm sure you've seen them. Who wants his teeth to be knocked out by some idiot? At least before they knock out my teeth, they should realize that it is risky for them to do it. I have seen Honorable Jimmy Akena riding a motorcycle alone without even a man with an arrow. So I think really we should do proper analysis rather than demagoguery. I have escorts. The first time I had escorts was when I was LC5 chairman. And I believe most LC5 chairpersons have.
But did you go to see Kony? Because you stopped there. Did you go there?
I went.
Yes, we went.
I went with Honorable Mapenduzi. We went, we met him. When we were guarded by South Sudan military in the bigger meeting, thereafter, Joseph Kony said, I'm inviting 10 guests to come to my camp, this time without escorts. Now, I was the leader of delegation, and Mapenduzi was my deputy leader of delegation. So, I had to volunteer first. Some people took photos with Joseph Kony and fled. They said, we just wanted a photo. So, I went for one night. We spent the night there, and the next day we came back. Then we later went back with the current Chief Justice, the late Walter Ochora, and we stayed for almost 2 weeks in Joseph Kony's camp. And when we were asked by the media, why are you risking? We said, well, we don't mind joining the statistics of dead people if need be. After all, how many have died? At least we will plead before God and say, well, you know what we were attempting when we died. So we actually went and saw him, though other people still vow that Joseph Kony doesn't exist. So we are, Charles, in the era of post-truth. The other thing is about the procedural matters within DP. It is true, when we started this conversation, I called the whip of DP and asked him to arrange a meeting between me and the DP caucus. And we met by the poolside in Africana, and they discussed the idea. But I think for many people, they could not connect with the idea. They say a man who got less than 1% of the vote has 9 MPs in parliament. What leverage do you actually have? I think for most people, it was even outlandish to imagine that President Museveni would even want to engage with you. But we have always been talking about DP's stake in the NRM struggle, right from the days of the Luwero Triangle. And most of the skulls and bones in Luwero are of DPs who wanted a better Uganda. Therefore, we also have a stake in that struggle. As president of the party, it is my duty to leverage that. And why not? Okay. So, I consulted. It was my expectation that the caucus meets and they brief each other.
Are you going to engage them again?
We are engaging, of course.
Okay.
And that's why yesterday I said that it's not necessary for me to be tough on the MPs because I know the politics. You have got to make public statements which are in line with what your constituency expects. It is important to do that. So the other thing is the National Executive Committee. Now, the DP Constitution currently has a body known as the Management Committee, which does the work of the National Executive Committee. Usually, we don't have resources to hold meetings of the National Executive Committee, which is a big body of more than 50, about 55 members. So, the Management Committee, there are 11 people who sit, and we meet every Wednesday. And I want you to know that I have been consistently briefing that group, and whatever I do, I've done with their knowledge and consent. But more importantly, when we met as the National Executive Committee, and I think probably this is the one which is of greatest interest to Council Sarah Birete, when we met at a Sela Hotel, we set 3 strategic objectives. We were developing our strategic plan, and we said, in the elections, we almost got wiped off the face of Ugandan politics. Parties in opposition have also been cannibalizing DP. So we said, well, objective number 1 is to take state power as DP. Number 2 is to share power with any government in power. Number 3, to lead the opposition by being the main challenger. Those are objectives that we stated in writing. We discussed them. Now it is our duty to actualize those objectives. Now, some discussions such as this are sensitive. I saw my brother writing in the newspapers while alluding to that kind of discussion, and he talked about how the Prime Minister and his small war cabinet in Israel made the decision to attack Entebbe Airport. And when the news leaked to the MPs, they were up in arms because the leakage had said the government was planning to carry out a rescue operation. And the MP said, how could you make that decision without consulting us? The Prime Minister stood up and calmly told the MPs, in a few minutes, the plane is touching down in Tel Aviv airport with Israeli citizens, safely rescued. We have some injured. We have lost Yoni Netanyahu
Brigadier
and Dora Bloch, but the hostages are coming back home. So leadership is about leading. And therefore, the decision has to be evaluated on its merits and its broad and grand objectives. Okay. And I believe that I'm in a position to tell you, because I have a fair idea of a survey of the opinions of our decision makers. The majority of the members of the national organs of the party are in agreement with the decision. And just like somebody said, and especially those who are elected leaders, I'm sure you are in parliament because you got a majority, not because you got everybody. And if those who didn't vote for you were to be on the streets every day, I think your life would be miserable. Okay. So that is my honest feedback to you. But the best part of it all is that this is a living document. There are opportunities to make adjustments because the requirement to meet quarterly is there. So we expect that whatever members of DP cannot live with, I think we will be in a position to adjust them. But we did our best.
Thank you. Chairman, Honorable Babu. In this, one of the sticking issues is the issue of independence of the parties. The agreement provides for independence of the parties. But earlier, I think on page 10, there is I think it must be on 11, where I think 41, which provides that the Democratic Party will support the government and on procedural motions in the House and in committees, subject to consultation being undertaken. I'm asking you this because of you have served in cabinet, and the question of whilst the DP in this agreement, or the parties, the parties are talking about respecting independence, there are different independence. Is it possible for Chairman Mao, as Chairman Mao, who is now also in cabinet and must be bound by collective responsibility, to stick by that kind of your advice?
Yeah, the problem is when people talk about collective responsibility, it's believed that they just order you to say this. No, when you're in cabinet, you actually debate. You can even completely refuse what has been put forward. You can speak and change the mind of the whole cabinet. You can even change the mind of the president. A lot of people have been saying President Museveni cannot be, in cabinet there are people who have come, debated an issue, and President Museveni has accepted. And we've had this over and over many, many. But once you have left, once you're in the cabinet, you agree on something. When you go outside because of the simple regulations and rules, you do not talk about. That's when collective responsibility comes in. But you've been given a chance in cabinet to debate. The little bit I've read in this agreement, it looks like the members of parliament will be independent of the DP. They will not necessarily talk as NRM. They'll have to be convinced. Are you with me? No. In other words, the DP members will remain as DP members, and they will debate the motion, and they will sit down, and the leader, listen, the leader of government, what they call him, the chief whip of government, will have to talk to the whip of DP to try and convince them. And if they convince, yes. If they don't convince, DP will remain independent on that issue in parliament. In cabinet, the minister, who is now the President General, when they bring a motion, he'll have to go after talking to his people also. If the DP members say, listen, this thing you are bringing, we are not very happy about it because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the President General, the chairman will have to think very hard what to say in his cabinet. So these are issues that we must all look at. Even when we were members of parliament, or when we were ministers, the members of parliament said, this thing you are bringing is not good. And some of us would go through it and sometimes agreed with the members of parliament, and sometimes we did not agree. But in cabinet, you are free to say anything on motion which you think has been brought, which you think is against your ministry or your constituency. Now, the collective responsibility comes after you have debated.
Okay.
It's not before. A lot of people have got this idea. Collectively, you're like you're in jail. No. The reason why they call it collectively is when you are walking out. You will not say what has been inside that chamber.
So you can just keep quiet.
You are supposed to keep quiet.
If you didn't agree.
You didn't agree.
Yeah.
But if you agreed, then you wait until it goes on the floor.
Okay. Honorable Segona.
Do you want me to read this?
Read, please.
In accordance with the cabinet rules, ministers from the Democratic Party must support and implement cabinet decisions. However, ministers from the Democratic Party will not be restricted from noting within the cabinet where that policy may deviate from the Democratic Party policy on an issue. If required, it may be noted in the cabinet minute that on a key issue, the Democratic Party position differs from the cabinet position.
Okay.
Now, in crafting these documents, you have to read the whole of it, actually. It is a bit like the Bible. I've seen some people
like constitutional
want to pick one line here and there, because if you read the Bible, it is a bundle of contradictions.
Okay, good. Honorable Segona, you may refer to that, but there was a question, an issue that your colleague to the right raised and said this to the nation may bring in new things altogether for parties to start rethinking, reshaping, refocusing, re-strategizing. I wanted, you are a senior member of the of NOPE currently. Do you think that there is a window of opportunity, like I saw your president and I think FDC now even going to campaign for one candidate in Soroti. Is there such an opportunity that you think lies ahead?
First of all, I think that has happened before, and even the decision to do what we did in Soroti was taken before this agreement. So yes, on a daily we think, we strategize and re-strategize, so this doesn't bring anything new. Secondly, we've been talking about President Museveni being the one to contravene the agreement. The first person to contravene this agreement, incidentally, is going to be DP this time round. Because from what you were reading at page 11, contrary to what my brother Francis thinks, is that DP members in Parliament are bound by this, by that clause. They are not at liberty, because it is said they are going to support the government on motions, you know, and bills, etc. And ordinarily, that's what it should be anyway. If you enter into that kind of agreement, that's what you should be doing. Now, going back to what the Honorable Captain Francis Babu said, you see, the parties, you will only cooperate with that party where you think you share common values. You have a common understanding and agreement on the policies. Why you see as if I am not supporting the Honorable Norbert Mao, and of course I'm not, is for him and I, we have consistently been saying the NRM is guilty of the following: human rights abuses, disrespect for the Constitution and constitutionalism in the country, etc., corruption, name them. Now, all of us support the idea of bringing the country together, to heal the country, even when we have not participated in inflicting those wounds. The duty to heal the country and move forward rests on all of us. President Museveni is tactical and strategic. He says, I do not want to heal this country. In fact, I want to continue inflicting wounds, because that is the policy.
Yes, he said he would finish opposition.
And he said he would finish. But he said, and you know, he said, for you are there out there shouting, for me I'm doing this.
Underground.
And we didn't know he was working underground now on DP, which is what he's doing. So what he is going to do, what you are supporting now, I don't want Honorable Norbert Mao to be like my brother Professor Mukenya. One day he said, I was also carrying something, I didn't know what I was carrying.
Definitely, I'm not Professor Bukenya.
No, I said I don't want you to get there. because I rate you differently. Now, those are the things that you're coming in to support. Because first of all, in cabinet, yes, naturally, you would disagree, like Captain Babu, who is NRM Conk, would disagree. But what is the impact? When you come out as a President General of DP now, you will not comment on it, except in support.
I will comment.
Except in,
no, I will comment.
He has been, you see, you said your first day in cabinet or in government is going to be on Friday. The person who has been there before has told you, and rightly so, that collective responsibility means when you are in cabinet, say anything you want. When you come out, if you don't support, if you don't support, keep quiet. Unless you're going to say, when you come out, it will be your vice president. You will instruct the vice president to comment in contradiction. You're not going to do that. I know you're more decent than that. Now, decency and civility.
I'd rather be right than minister.
Good. You would rather be president of DP than minister. Then that will be the end of the agreement. So the first person to contravene is going to be DP, because now you see your members of parliament have said they are not bound. So the next thing...
Actually, they are not bound by the document.
You see, you said they are bound to support. Now, when you come to the floor of parliament, your members who have already denounced you and denounced what you have done will get the motion and will not support the government position. So for the first time, you're going to be the first person to contravene the agreement. President Museveni at least has honored the few preliminaries.
Are you talking about Penati's agreement? Is that what you're talking about?
Penati's agreement, no. You have to tell me. Yeah, exactly. That's a typical example.
No, I thought I'd make him happy.
No, but the truth is, actually, the 9 members of Parliament of DP, or even the entire opposition, is not pivotal in decision-making in Parliament. I think that's the reality.
No, but you see, then why did you say they will support?
Yes.
Because the government, notwithstanding the majority they enjoy, have gone out of their way to sign an agreement of cooperation. Now, so you must be seen to cooperate. If President Museveni brought Penati's agreement, if President Museveni brought Rocco, the bailout, etc., the agreement is that your DP...
Rocco has passed.
No, I'm saying even Penati. But, Rocco can ask for more money. Because this is not enough. So, I mean, Penati came asking for more.
Now we are talking about the real contours of power in Uganda.
Now I'm now telling you.
Beyond the agreement.
That is not enough.
I'm telling you, this is how your members are going to help you tear this same agreement and the cooperation and the spirit.
The agreement can only be torn if our action sabotages the objectives of the government.
Yes, actually, your actions are going to do that.
They won't.
Because your members...
you, Segona and Nup,
you see,
will be there to fight for what the DP believes in.
Exactly. So now you can see.
But
you're going to do what NRM believes in and then ask Nup to do what you believe in.
Maybe that's...
To me, this cooperation actually should have been the other way. One, get a comprehensive framework of the issues you want to discuss. Get all the stakeholders, and I think he was talking about all the people, the owners of this country, people from Bukedi, etc. Not only political parties, all of us, and say, national dialogue, this is what we want to talk about. There are areas we will never agree on. For example, you will never convince President Museveni that leaders leave power.
He will leave.
No, he will leave. But I'm saying you will never convince him.
And when he leaves, I will be asking you, hasn't he left?
No. Well, I will ask you on the manner of living. Yes.
Let's imagine that Chairman Mao, having reached a certain stage in this discussion, came to NOP, to FDC, and presented this proposal from President Museveni to those other opposition parties.
Join the cooperation.
Would you, to join the cooperation or even think about it. Would you have thought about it for a second?
Yes, I would have thought about it. For us, the difference is that we would convene the party organs. I was with Gerard Seranda, and I think Captain Babu. We were together on another talk show. And when Gerard Seranda, the Secretary General, was asked why the organs were not consulted, this is what he had to say. Do you know what it means by statecraft? You go and inform them, consult them, the next day they will leak the secret. If you're talking about national dialogue, actually there should not be secrets.
Okay.
So finally, let me say this. At least President Museveni has honored his first batch of promises. He has appointed a minister, and I congratulate him. My brother is now a minister, and you saw him telling you now, ministers don't speak that way. He's beginning to fit in the chair. And like I said, I've said previously, you bear me witness, Honorable Norbert Mao qualifies to be minister, and especially for justice, especially in Museveni's cabinet. You could not get a better person. I'm actually disappointed. He should be prime minister. But only when he chooses to cooperate as an individual. If he chooses to cooperate as DP, convene the organs formally, have their say into this. And now I know he's going to accuse me the same way I accused Sarah, that I'm being factual. Yes, for me, I have stakes in DP even when I left.
What stake do you have?
You've been calling me back to the graveyards because you say we are keeping your forefathers' graveyards. Now I see the forefathers' graveyard being transferred with a transfer form being signed. And you're telling me, no, I have not signed.
That is the demagoguery I was talking about.
No, you started it because you told me to come back to the father's graveyard. Now, for me, I have stakes. But beyond the stakes of having been in DP, for me, I am concerned about democracy in this country. And I did tell you my fears for what is likely to happen in DP, which has happened to other parties. And let me say this. I will be very happy. Because you see, for me, I don't care who carries the message.
If the agreement works.
If the agreement works, if for once, I mean...
And if Uganda benefits from it.
Yes, if President Museveni honors this, I will know that Honorable Norbert Mao is a very clever witch. He has bewitched President Museveni.
I'll rely on the blood of Jesus Christ.
Now, because it cannot... I mean, you need Jesus Christ indeed. Then we took tendereza. And I would sing took tendereza. When you succeed in this, I hope and hope.
No, but you hope I succeed, but you pray I fail.
No.
So that you are proved right.
I will never
You and Sarah want to come back here to celebrate the failure and the collapse.
I pray that you fail to the extent that what I read some mischief. For the mischief, I pray for failure. For the good things, I pray for success.
Mischief on whose part?
Or both.
No, both of us are said not to be trusted.
Both of them, by the way.
That I'm also not trusted.
If there is
maybe we can, with the one who is here, because there are two principles.
Yes.
One is here. Can you state his mischief and he responds, and then we are left with the other principle?
No.
Am I trusted?
Let me be very honest.
What is Mao's with
let me be very honest.
Yeah.
Isn't there something called honor among thieves?
Now for honor. No. The conventions of our civility.
Don't thieves also share fairly what they have stolen? Isn't that honor?
There is one I have never forgotten. An American, I think it must have been David someone, the one who used to be a spokesperson for Obama, who said that even a bad job can be done well. That when you are a good spokesperson, there comes a time when you are called to do a very bad job, but you have to do it well.
Charles, the conventions of our civility and decency would not permit me to say that I do not trust the Honorable Mao. I'm sure I've answered your question. Now,
you have given a reply, not an answer.
No, it's an answer, whichever way you must.
As a lawyer, you only give replies, not answers.
I just want to.
Honorable Babu had something burning.
Yeah, this is about agreements. Birati said something that I've been living on for many years. The unwritten.
Yes.
Yeah.
The unwritten between two people.
Yes.
Yeah. Gentlemen's.
I want to see, apart from this written agreement, I want to see if the unwritten, which all of us are talking about, that man is not trustworthy. This one, I want to see if that unwritten can bring up what we all want to see. And I hope and I pray that Mao's ability will not be his hindrance. Because there are people in that circle who don't like people who have got ability. And no, I've got to be very frank.
Yes.
Oh, that man is too clever.
The social media would say, Mbo.
Especially strangers who have boarded at Sawaya Queen.
Be careful.
No, that's too far.
That man is too clever.
It's too square.
Now be careful, that man is too clever, has a lot of implications. But I want to end by saying this, that Bilete, you brought a very good point. This, we can sit down and go through this agreement over and over again, put it together, and at the end of the day, it's between him and the other principal to make sure that what they aspire comes to be seen. That's all.
But they have teams behind them. That's why you referred to that.
Now, that team, if you read very carefully, they don't just have to agree. They have to be convinced. They can't just say, my friend here cannot come from cabinet, you must do this. No.
Okay.
They have to be convinced. So and they cannot be taken.
There are actually provisions for consultations.
Okay, yeah, I saw.
In the agreement.
And how do you
but it has got to be tested. You see,
and how do
even if you design the best car, until it goes to the road,
you will never know how effective
and the question is, how do you whip them? Because the NRM chief whip whips his people. How are you going to whip those DP MPs?
The good thing is that Ugandans are there to whip the MPs. All of them.
Those MPs have been whipping each other.
No. In addition to what Honorable Segona is asking, you see, as an ex-official MP, Honorable Mao will sit with cabinet. And that is on
and the MP side. Who sits on Kameme.
Yes. And then he will be looking at his MPs.
Actually, he will be sitting the other side.
On the other side. If it is a corporation, why don't they come and shift to NRM side?
They cannot.
No. I know this is, but these are some of the controversies.
No, there's no need.
No, Honorable, you might say there's no need. So even the question of how will you whip them? So you are here, they are there.
Whipping is not done on the floor.
I know, no, of course I know.
No?
You remember how Mbabas used to turn?
I know. Some whipping is by body language and other things. So I know, but you see the controversies. But my biggest, and I've stated on another forum today, I said Mao is the right person for the right job, but at the wrong time, in a wrong establishment. I wish I could be proven wrong at some point, but this is my belief today.
But Madam Bireti, those whips, they meet every day, all of them. And they do things that you have not been told. Some very interesting things.
I know, but you say...
If we had to go...
and now I have the opportunity to tell you the real moles.
You know, Charles,
finally.
The real moles in NRM.
I'll now be reporting,
everywhere.
Telling you.
Oh, Bireti, the moles are everywhere.
You know, Charles, I know President Mao, Honorable Mao, has been pursuing the path of becoming president of Uganda. I know President Museveni has been doing his best to remain president of Uganda. Now, when the two, with their constant, each one of them have their own agenda, when the two decide to unite, something is cooking up. And I said this last week. Okay?
Not okay.
Not okay. No, let me say this.
Ask you. He's just giving.
No, I'm talking to myself. I don't know why you answered.
Is that Armageddon?
No, that was not meant for you.
Yes, okay.
And this is how I look at it. These are two.
But you know, we don't want to say everything in the media.
That's right.
No, but that's what Honorable Babu said. They are unwritten.
You say behind the headlines, between the lines.
That's why
but I think Beretti's got a point.
Let's say this.
Yes. Thinking aloud.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and thinking should not stop. So what I'm thinking is that these are two gentlemen who are sophisticated. They know what they want. They have been pursuing it, and so they have decided to cooperate.
Yeah, but you see, for one's agenda to succeed, no, I'm just coming in. For one's agenda to succeed, one must give up theirs.
Or must be destroyed.
Well, let me finish.
It's called give and take.
Let me finish. So when these two sophisticated gentlemen decide to unite, the other people who are not in that kind of,
arrangement,
you end up saying a lot of things, and sometimes you are far from what they want to achieve. The other thing that I see, I listened to a statement on the day of the signing. Honorable Mao made a statement, and President Museveni also made his statements. And looks like after this agreement, the two are planning to get out on an, should I call it expedition?
No, there is a process of consultation in the agreement, which is
getting out, not only to consult, but to create a new environment. And for me, I see this because I want to pay a lot of attention to how is this going on, and what is the next move, and what do they want, what are they up to,
okay,
and what long term. So I think Ugandans should be a lot more interested in seeing what is this new thing that is coming up, and how is it going to shape the politics of this country in the next few years.
Okay.
And for me, I'm not even bothered to think whether it will succeed or not. If it succeeds, that is good. Good for DP, good for the NRM, probably good for the country. If it doesn't succeed, I am sure President Museveni will have achieved partly what he wanted. President Mao will have achieved partly what he wanted. They know how they are going to handle it. That is their
like
part.
a divorce.
Whatever comes out of that. But for me, whatever happens from the time the signing took place to tomorrow, to another day, that is what Ugandans need to follow. And also, you know, I have seen how sometimes we use a lot of negative energies and it begins to block us from understanding and appreciating what our country is and the direction we are trying to take. Okay. So my word to Chairman Mao is that now you have an opportunity to demonstrate how much you love this country. Yes, that is it. You have an opportunity to demonstrate how much you love this country. Like Honorable Captain Francis Babu put it, there are things that Ugandans have been crying for. There are citizens who are locked and whose rights are being violated. And you have a gentleman who has been preaching dignity. And
don't forget my land in Apa.
That one we will add to the list. We will add to the list. So, Chairman Mao now has an opportunity to prove to Ugandans, first, what he has been crying for. Maybe this is also going to, if he's still interested in becoming president of Uganda, you now have an opportunity to do much more. So, for me, I wish you good luck. I congratulate you. And as a member of parliament, you will have my full support for the things that are good for this country. And that is it.
Honorable Segona, will you support the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs? especially you as one of the preachers of...
First is his lawyer.
Apart from, no, in law, he may be given instruction, but not necessarily supporting him. But
let me tell you, I think I've demonstrated this.
Yeah.
Anything good for the country,
you will be
I don't care who carries it.
Okay.
I will support him. I've supported him before. Even in distress. You see a person who supports you in distress. When you're in Nakasogola, put
in flying, in flying, it's called Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Distress.
Yes. No, he came to.
So when we hear Mayday, Mayday, Mayday,
he came to Nakawa.
SOS is lower.
And insisted that he is not going to accept us just to be released on bail. The case must be quashed.
Must be dismissed.
Finally.
No, I do the final part. I'll wait for your final.
No, I'm done.
Oh, you're done.
I want to finish the show.
Yeah, one thing.
You have 1 minute.
Yeah, one thing I want to bring out, Mao, and I want to say this clearly. There are people who are saying that the reason Mao was given this thing is because they want to show Buganda a lesson. They want to teach Buganda a lesson. It is out there. I want it to be.
And he has mentioned the land issue.
Yeah, I'm coming. The Buganda feel that they are being sidelined.
Targeted.
And now Acholi is the new bride.
Someone put it on Twitter.
Yes, you saw it.
I saw it.
I'm happy that you have seen it.
It was not a very healthy comment.
It is not good. Yeah. It's not good at all.
That Acholi is now the new Buganda.
It's not good at all. The way they've brought it is a very bad thing because it creates a division in this country. I want to make it very clear to you that I and a few other people many years ago formed regions. In the constitution, they are there.
Yeah.
Yeah? And when we are going back to the constitutional review, we want the constitution to be respected and these regions be given what is worth it. By then, the problem was only one, how to appoint the Katikiro. The region was accepted. It is there. The region, and the other places, we could also have regions. So, to me, I want that thing completely erased and they show that there is no such thing and that the government, the people in government, are not actually against this region. I'm very strong about that. And if you want to win this country, you've got to unite it, not to divide it.
Thank you very much. Finally, Chairman Mao, you're winding the show, but one of the things I needed to ask you about, what is the first main agenda in justice that you want to start with? You may share that with us. One or two that you...
To take over office.
Once you take over office on Friday.
Number one is to consult. I think I would be extremely unwise to start shooting my mouth here that this is number one, number two. The broad priorities are in the cooperation agreement. And I think it is important that number one, I consult. Number two, to get the buy-in of the principal, the other side. It is very important. And also to ensure that my party, because this has also not only shocked the nation, but also the broad membership of the party, because of the way the media and some of the critics of the agreement who made comments before they had read it even started lambasting it and bastardizing the debate. In fact, somebody even accused me of having been receiving salary before being appointed. So the debate has really been bastardized. But I do hope that the country is at a delicate point. I would like President Museveni to be the last president to jump over dead bodies while going to be sworn in. I want for the first time to have a president who is taking oath and another one departing, and we put it there. I believe in the national dialogue. I hope that other parties will eventually be part of this. The leader of opposition asked me a good question when I went for vetting. He asked me about the National Consultative Forum, and I was honest enough. I told him some people don't like the idea of iPod, but we hope through the constitutional body known as the National Consultative Forum of Political Parties, everybody who has a political party can talk. And therefore it is important to resource that body and also make sure that the Electoral Commission becomes a proper secretariat of political parties. They just have a desk, you know, and I think they need to scale it up. So there are many what I would call low-hanging fruits that are not controversial. Okay. You know, when you're, Charles, when you go into an exam room, my teacher told me that there are no marks for courage. You start with the easy questions and finish them off, then you come to the hard ones. The examiner will not know that you were so courageous, you died while trying to answer the hardest question. Okay. So, there are many easy questions in the docket I have been given that are not controversial. I will make sure that I focus on those, while at the same time building momentum. I already received an email from Mr. Kakwenza Rukirabaseija, who has some issues that he wants resolved. I don't have the background to it, but I believe I will be able to find out. But we must know that this country has many actors in its political terrain, and we just have to have the hope. I am a flag bearer for Team Hope. There are those who want to be flag bearers for Team Fear. So it is fear contending with hope about the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How about human rights? Will you do something about that? Because we've got a dirty name everywhere in the world.
The dirty name is not even because of the media or journalism. The government is working very hard to spoil its own name. And you see? So I think there are some things that have got to be done. Now there is a body known as the National Security Council.
Yes.
It is important that they understand the implications of some of their actions.
Yes.
After all, these human rights, we don't need Americans to come and tell us that our human rights should be respected.
No, some Mexican Senate man wrote something.
It is in our constitution. It is
the
important.
Whole chapter.
Yes.
The whole chapter.
So it is
Article 21, chapter 4.
But me, I think that what we are attempting to do gives Ugandans the opportunity in the next 4 years to agree on some important things. I personally see even a possibility of a government of national unity where everybody will be working hard now to implement the things that we need to do. And it will not be the first time people who are diametrically opposed. Imagine the scandal of Mandela being given jointly the Nobel Peace Prize with the president of the apartheid regime. Can you imagine something more disgusting?
Okay.
But there they are, they went.
Are you talking about Raila Odinga and Uhuru?
Closer home. But gentlemen, we need to finalize. I know.
They were supposed to be neighbors in The Hague.
But thank you very much.
But I thank the members for their goodwill. I know the executive director of Center for Constitutional Governance will be a big resource. It's a walking distance from my house.
If you don't shift.
Really? Excuse me, doctor, can you confirm about this?
No, Mao doesn't.
No, he's my neighbor.
No, Mao doesn't have to shift.
Yes.
Mao already stays in Minister's Village. In fact, the appointment delayed.
Actually, it is you to move because you may constitute a threat to the minister's security.
No, the problem with you don't know what the neighborhood has been doing. You're exaggerating. The neighborhood is friendship. You don't know it.
That's for information. The Right Honorable Speaker is also right around the corner.
She shifted with Corona.
No, you are behind news.
She's there.
She came back.
She is there. And there are a number of generals in the area.
Yes.
So really, I'm the smallest entity, if you want to know.
No, the generals.
Thank you very much, Chairman Mao. Thank the new Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. Thanks a lot for coming. And you said it is fear versus hope, right? And we will support you. And I think that for me as a journalist...
Will we have time to host him in the first 100 days?
That
will be
first
good.
100 days, I have a problem with it.
No,
it is
no,
an American notion.
No, I
don't
know,
understand
but
why.
No.
We can even do the first 30 days since he said they're low-hanging fruits.
First 100 days.
In Uganda, we call that one Mulinya Wagonda. If you look for the softest.
I like that one.
The first quarter, we can have him, and we go one by one on some of the issues. We shall first, by next week, we shall get his
Tomorrow
plans.
I'm going for induction at the cabinet office. Because, as you know, DP has been in opposition since 1962. The other day I was at a function and the MC was talking about Honorable Minister, and then I would look back to find out who they are talking about.
And you are prepared, your attack.
You will get used. Thank you so much, Honorable Francis Babu.
Just to wish him, I'm a Rotarian.
Yeah.
He's a jolly good fellow.
Oh, you're a jolly good fellow.
No, don't say. Just
jolly
speak the song, you will not sing it.
You are a jolly good fellow. How do they end?
And you're saying, and so say all of us, including me?
And so say. Yeah, including you.
And so say
You said he's your friend.
Okay, yes.
And so say all of us.
All of us.
And so say all of them.
Yes.
And you know what I'm trying to do here? Yeah. I want to show those politicians that you can have different views and still remain friends.
I've written, one day we will discuss the challenges of multi-party politics. And I will invite you, Honorable Babu, because for me, I think at the level of debate, I see that is a very...
But look at our students, killing each other.
Yes.
Now, what do you expect from the adult league?
Sarah,
the junior league,
panelists, thank you very much.
You've been killing each other.
And the technical team, I can't thank you more. You are wonderful people, and we have short our time by a whole hour, and but it was a discussion to have. And to the rest out there, I have received thousands of messages, and people are saying, please don't end, and please keep talking. We are enjoying. Thank you very much out there who continue following this show. If you want a debate on issues like we have started, last week it was just about why Mao, why DP and all that, but there are issues for the nation in that whole thing. You know, whether you think someone has made a mistake, Museveni and Mao, maybe they made a mistake. If that is what you think, that's okay. But what is the issue that they are trying to put across? That is where the country should be concerned. If they have done something right, let's discuss it here. And here is the point where we will be having the issue-based discussions, and we will not shy away from them. Thank you very much. To a family that I have known for over 25 years, the family of Nalis Biarugaba, I want to send you sympathies. We lost a great man from Chigezi, and with a home in Uganda. He will be buried on Saturday. He died this morning. Again, that monster called cancer, but our hearts go out to you all. To the wife, Ovi, and the children, we really sympathize with what you're going through. We pray for you and pray for his soul. Thank you very much, all Uganda. God bless you all. Bye-bye. Good night.
Vimba! Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
Are you a player in the tourism sector with a struggling business following the COVID pandemic? UDB, in partnership with European Union, is providing financial assistance to businesses operating in the tourism sector. You can access subsidized loan with grants, loan with a turnover